All right, so this meeting is being recorded. Thank you once again. Broadcasting live from Barcelona, the world capital of architecture 2026 to the world. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. We are the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, and today we are in our webinar for the Master in Design for Emergent Futures. To tell us more about this very special and beautiful master's program is Guillem. Guillem is a designer and technologist exploring how emerging technologies can empower communities and shape more equitable futures. Guillem leads the Fab Lab Barcelona, and he's a leader in a global network of more than 2,000 Fab Labs through the distributed design platform. He's also the co-director of the Master in Design for Emergent Futures with the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia and the Elisava Engineering and Design School. Without further ado, help me welcoming Guillem. Guillem, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Andres. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll be here for about an hour showing you a bit what we do and sharing our thoughts, but also listening to your questions and comments. So please, also the floor is all yours to comment. I will have a Q&A at the end, but I just want to say that at the moment in case you want to start writing any comments or questions on the chat so we can address them later. So welcome, as Andres said, to this IAAC Barcelona webinar. And let me guide you through the Master in Design for Emergent Futures. So, in the year 2017, Fab Lab Barcelona, the research group at IAAC, turned 10 years old. And we were asking ourselves, what was the role of design? And, when we started to look around us, we started to question actually if it makes sense to continue to design. And maybe that's a question that sometimes you ask yourself. It's like, given the state of things, what's the role of design? Is design the one who's going to solve any of those problems, or is design actually going to make it everything worse? And the answer we gave to that was actually that we should continue to design. We should continue to design, but maybe in a different way. And that's how the program started almost 10 years ago. And to actually rethink the way design happens, we established a key partnership. We at Fab Lab Barcelona, one of the founding parts of the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, and also one of the oldest Fab Labs in the global ecosystem of Fab Labs with more than 3,000 at the moment, we decided to join Elisava. Elisava, for the ones who don't know, it's actually the oldest design school in Southern Europe. Here in Spain. It's been more than 50 years alive. It's very well known for their interdisciplinary work, ranging from very engineering-driven design to also very radical and experimental design. And happily, it's located very much nearby IAAC. So the two of us share the same city and not the same neighborhood, but almost. So we decided to join forces to create what has become now the Master in Design for Emergent Futures. Which it's actually opening in October, its 9th edition. So as I said, almost 10 years, this is a program that's consolidated, I would say, and it has proved a track record of more than 9 editions happening consecutively since the year 2017. Very happy that soon we'll reach the 10th edition. So let me guide you a bit more about what this program is about and how do we work. So in a sentence, let's say, or in a short text, the Master in Design for Emergent Futures approaches design as a situated practice shaped by the technological change, the ecological urgency, and the evolving imaginaries. Through critical inquiry and hands-on experimentation with artificial intelligence, digital fabrication, synthetic biology, participants develop interdisciplinary projects grounded in collective challenges. So let me explain you a bit more how this master actually works and a bit more about also the partners I just mentioned. Well, first of all, this Master in Design for Emerging Futures, as all the other IAAC programs, it's accredited by the University of Lleida under the European Higher Education area. That means that you'll get the well-known ECTS credits. But on top of that, as I said, it's a program that's built on a collaboration with Elizabeth since the year 2017. Elizabeth brings into the program the experience of not only in a school that's driven by innovation as we are, but also in a school that's grounded onto the design practice for many years, 50, as I said. On top of that, FabLab Barcelona, one of the founding parts of IAAC, a digital fabrication laboratory, but also innovation part of IAAC, very driven by the work with communities of practice here in Barcelona, but also globally. Before we move forward, sometimes, I think it's good from the beginning to summarize you in one slide, what are we talking about here? So, as you know, or maybe you don't, but I will explain you, this is a master program that is offering two flavors. 1 year or 1 and 2 years. So you could take a program that starts next October 26 until July 27, 10-month full-time program, 60 CTS, or you could take that and on top a second year, which means that you'll start in October 2026 again, but you'll finish in July 2028. The number of credits of the second year is 60 also. So that means that between the year one and the year two, if you do the two together, you get 120 ECTS credits. Again, it's accredited by the University of Lleida under the European Higher Education area, and it's directed by Saul Baeza, that you'll get to know for sure in some other events. Actually, at the moment, he is in Senegal preparing for the upcoming research trip for the Master in Design for Emerging Futures. I will tell you more about that in a moment. But and also by myself, as I said. So Saul represents more the Elizabeth side. I do represent more the IAAC side. It's offered in English, as most of the IAAC programs, and of course, it's happening here in Barcelona. Actually, it just happened in the room above where I'm sitting now. It's where the program is. Something also very unique from IAAC. We are a ratio of, let's say, for every staff, there's maybe 4 students, no more, and that means that it's a very close institution. And one of the ways to explain that to me is that just walking one floor, I'm close to the MDEF cohort of this year, and they are also close to me, which I think makes it also very, very unique. Let me guide you a bit more now that you already maybe got a bit familiar about the program, actually what we are going to discuss today. So first of all, we'll talk why this program, why it exists, how it's different than other programs. We'll talk also about the methodology. I think that's fundamental. We are under a program that could sound a bit different or experimental, and I want to sure that you really understand this is a well-tested methodology developed for almost 9 years. The program structure, which is also good. So at the end of the day, you are here because you have the interest to join a 1 or 2 year experience. And it's important that you actually get to see not only the big words, but also the day-to-day of the program. We'll also talk about the alumni and the career outcomes by simply showing you, real life projects, people who has been part of that program for the last years and what are they doing today. And finally, we have a bit of a learn more session where we'll have your Q&A, and I will also show you some additional content that you can look, and you can also use it to think about potential questions that you have. Well, what makes the Master in Design for Emerging Futures unique or different? So let me guide you through. And I'll do that by going first through some key projects that had happened in these last years. Well, first of all, what you're seeing here, and just give me a sec because I'm minimizing the thumbnails. So this is a Designing Realities project by Cesar Rodriguez done the COVID year. It's a project that explores how do we actually perceive reality and how we can change the way we see reality by using technology to change the way we look into the world. It's a project that to me is very key that you see here because it shows very clear how this is a program that is actually not about speculation. It's not a program like others where, they work on the futures as something that, you analyze through trends and through forecasts. This is a program very much on how you embody alternative presence. And embodying means living with your own ideas. And that's what we do. So at the end of the day, we build devices like the one you saw. We carry these devices with ourselves, and we explore these alternative ways of living by embodying, by living inside them. And I'll say that's something quite unique about this program. Then here also, so you start to see a bit more about the program. It's also a program that, the outcome of the program, it's very diverse. Of course, it works under the idea of making things that they are tangible. I'm not saying tangible that you can touch because maybe it's a piece of a software, but things that are built. But they work in a very multidisciplinary approach. You can see on one side the Autonomous Tree project by Krzysztof Wronski from the MDF 2021. This is a project in what will happen if trees will rule on humans and not humans on trees. So to discuss that issue and to test it, Christoph developed that physical tree. He actually hacked existing trees with devices to monitor humans and to tell humans what to do. So these type of devices are actually built in class. In the other side, you see the Museum of Colonization by Stella Digmans, Marielle Wall, and Carolina Almeida from 23-24 course, where they explore the idea of the Museum of Colonization. So touring people around Barcelona to understand from Barcelona how actually, we were, of course, as many other countries, a colonized power that colonized many parts of the world during the massive colonization, but also we could still say that this is still happening nowadays under a different type of forces. And to do that, they designed this tour around the city. And so in this case, you can see one of the multiple outcomes of this project, aside from the tour and all these experience I developed, is also all these print materials that you see. So I just want to make clear that we can go from something very hardware, very maker oriented, as you can see on one side, but also something that actually it's a very, more graphic design driven. This is, a very, I will say, nice print. So at the end, I would say maybe the conclusion here for you to get is that we don't design objects. We co-design the ecosystemic relations. And to do that, of course, we develop all types of artifacts that we put together to work. Well, let's switch, to another important topic about the program. This is a program that works very rooted into communities of practice. That means we don't want you to design for yourself. We don't want you to design alone at home. We want you to design in context. And the context is what you find outside. You find, in an online platform, talking into a Reddit group. You find it into the streets, talking to, people in Barcelona you yet don't know. You also find it, by reaching back to communities of practice in your home country. Maybe it's one school where you study. Maybe it's one company that you work that become, the place to host, to test these ideas. You can see on one side the IAAC project by Clement Rams and Lea Carrache. This is a project where they actually explore with the neighbors of Poblano, building physical infrastructure, building public space, furniture to reclaim the space previously owned by cars with the citizens. In the other side, you see the Laia project by Nuria Balcells and Marius Schreier. This is a project where they developed this installation that you see here in the picture that was located in one neighborhood called El Clot here in Barcelona. And people could interact with an artificial intelligence that was collecting information about the neighborhood, and then you could ask questions about that. So the type of questions you cannot ask to ChatGPT because it doesn't know, what's the typical thing that, on that particular street people do during the festivities, or they maybe don't know, who's famous to sing very well at the, let's say, popular concert they organize every year at the neighborhood. So these type of things were recorded and shared in a kind of a new or interface. So at the end, this helps me to tell you that we are not in a competitive race for solutions. This is not the type of moonshot approach to solving the world's problems, all of you working independently, fighting each other. We are actually very much, and that's something I repeat always when we are interviewing people, we are here to actually create a very unique cohort every year for the program that helps in what we underline here, which is that we are in a collective quest for meaning. Moving forward, so you see a bit more, how this program unfolds. Well, that's my board, by Roberto Brose. This emerged from a personal interest by Roberto on surf, but also an issue. When he discovered the way surfboards were being made, he found out that actually they were usually made using materials that come from petrol, which actually they are hard to process once they arrive end of life. So he thought, how can I reverse that? And he started his own personal journey into mycelium, into fungi, in actually growing the roots of fungi under different types of molds and composites until he created this biodegradable surfboard made out of organic materials that he actually continues to develop now as part of his professional practice. So at the end, this helps me to guide you in what's fundamental. We are not here to hand you, a master project only. We're not here just to give you some credits, some diploma. We are here to empower you to shape your own path and hybrid profile. I will talk more about the hybrid profile because that is very important for us. So let me show you the methodology. So this master, it's rooted into what I would say is quite a simple idea. There's a lot of issues happening around us that we are all concerned. Let's say climate change. But climate change at the end doesn't exist on itself. Climate change, it's what scientists have succeed to name, and effects they saw on their time series, on the data they have, that they see something is going on, something is changing, something is not behaving as it should be. But the impact of climate change happens in a very local scale. The impact of climate change is a community that, cannot fish anymore because the fish they were fishing doesn't live there anymore. The effect of climate change is us in Barcelona suffering massive storms, etc., etc. So what we have to do is to guide you how you take these very big issues and you bring them down to the scale of products and interventions that you could start to develop at the very personal scale, what we call first person perspective design. And from there on, we could start to iterate and develop ideas that then we can scale. We can scale through replication. We can scale by making a product. We can scale by making a platform, by making a community, or just by, giving it for free to the world. At the end of the day, if you ask me, the first year of the program, it's very much on supporting you how to go down from these very big ideas, into, on a scale of developing, interventions that you own, and of course to start scaling them. That's completely there. And the second year, we start again, of course, with very big issues, but it's more rooted towards helping you, to push these ideas forward so they kind of transcend you. They are not anymore yours. They are from the world. They are owned by people. At the end of the day, what is key is that, all of this work is grounded in first-person research, iterative prototyping, situated interventions. What we want is to translate ideas into artifacts that challenge the dominant narrative, testing alternative presence while tracing their effects over time. So let me guide you a bit more about this methodology. Well, both in the first and the second year, we unfold that curve using these three stages. We frame design interventions. We help you define a situated position within complex social and technological landscapes, mapping urgencies, actors, and narrative. We help you to embody this emergent context through first-person research and hands-on experimentation using high-tech and low-tech, from AI to, as low-tech devices, from fabrication to living systems. And later on, we help you to challenge this alternative presence by evolving them into tangible artifacts that question dominant figures. So it's key here how you succeed not only to propose something, but to test and to fight against what you propose, to see the edges, to see the cracks, to see actually how the thing actually could impact or change the reality. So that flow happens both in the first and the second year. But again, of course, as we'll see in a moment, the first year, it's more grounded into supporting you to become what we describe as an hybrid profile, which means that we want you to become a unique designer. We want you to combine your interests, your passions, your background, new learnings that you take in the program into something that defines you, something that when you go to a job interview, you could say, look, that's my role and I'm different, and you have the confidence to be different than these other 15,000 UX designers or 10,000 architects, that do something, which everyone else knows what it is. So you become unique. And the second year, it's more towards supporting the emergent practice. So what it means in emergent practice, it means how through that hybrid profile, you are capable to activate projects that in a way succeed you, projects that they are not recognized because, it's your projects that are actually maybe more popular than yourself. At the end of the day, however, and that's why actually we draw here, a weight, a balance. It's not that we do hybrid profile fully in the first year and emergent practice in the second. We keep a balance, but we try to influence more the hybrid profile in the first year. And when this is a bit more clear, we then reinforce the emergent practice in the second year. Happy to discuss this on the Q&A because I know there's always questions. Well, moving forward, this program structures in 4 types of seminars, workshops, 4 types of activities, I would say, 4 types of topics more than activities, sorry. We have Explore, where we explore technologies and sociocultural phenomena within the potential to unsettle prevailing, understandings of society, industry, and the economy. You'll see in a moment, here we explore new technologies, new topics in bio, new topics in society. Build, where we want, to empower you with a modular repertoire of maker skills and tools. Apply, where we support you to apply those. That's what we discussed a moment ago. That's a studio. It's you with your own ideas, developing that. It's very important to know that here in the MDEF program, the studio topic, you drive it. And you could start with one topic at the first day of the program, and we'll support you to carry that until you finish 2 years after. So it's not that we'll be, coming with you with new brief or brief influenced by the outside, like, okay, here is a company that has an idea. No, you drive the brief. We support you on that. So you came out with projects that you really own. And then reflect. So reflect is where you build legitimacy and legacy about what you are doing. Maybe that shows you better what we are talking about. So we have Explore, Sensing Emerging Technologies and Cultures, Reflect, the Critical Discourse, and Build, the Making and Tools. And what you do then on top of that is that you build the studio, you build your own practice. And that's a fundamental part of the program. And at the end, the Apply, it's a studio backbone, it's a central gravitational node, and it's also where we develop this type of iterative prototyping. What's important here is that we are happy that you drive this Apply wherever you want. And that means that some people might maybe be more connected to applying close to the making and the tools. Some people it's more interested into the application closer to, emerging technologies and cultures. And some people maybe it's more in the critical discourse. So maybe less interested, into the making and the technology. And the studio is designed so it supports navigating these 3 core areas of the program, easily. We don't have the time now to, of course, present the syllabus of each of the, courses that we have, but this is a summary. So you could see on each of these 4 tracks what type of content that we offer. Just mentioning maybe on Explore, we have this path called Extended Intelligence, Rethinking Cognitions, Machines, Ecologies, Beyond Consumer AI. These are 3 workshops, one on each term approximately, that guide you actually on the topics of artificial intelligence, cognition beyond machines. So talking also about, topics on how we do synthetic biological cognition. At the end, giving you tools to test AI outside of the type of consumer AI you already use on ChatGPT, etc. Jumping to another, vertical, so you could see we have, for example, the fundamentals for future makers. That's a track very oriented to giving you, the 101 of digital fabrication. So you can freely use our facilities or workshops. Important to notice, this program offers you access to our workshops here, IAAC, Fab Lab Barcelona workshops, well known in digital fabrication, but also to the Elizaba workshops, well known to have, for example, a graphic design workshop where you can go and print on risography, on large scale, etc. On the Apply, that vertical is a studio. That's where we develop the studio. And then finally, reflection. We discuss on topics you'll see in a moment, like the allosopic signals, like the living with your own ideas, etc. More to come in a moment, but so you see a bit of a sample, and I could then tell you more on the Q&A about the specific details of the curriculum. These are all some of the courses. I will explain you some in a moment. It's key also for you to know that we try to make the courses, something that people also engage from the outside. There's actually the posters you could find in our social media. We have guests coming to the workshops. We invite people to these, reviews. So we also try that each of these activities I was mentioning now feels unique and feels also very grounded to the community in Barcelona. Let me guide you to some of these courses, individually. So you see a bit more firsthand, okay, what this is about. Well, I'll start with one, which is called the Almost Useless Machines. The Almost Useless Machine is actually an activity we do with the first month of the program. And it invites you to design artifacts that resist the idea of productivity. So through playful mechanics, paradoxical behaviors, participants explore technological determinism, human-machine relations, and critical making. You don't need to take background to do that, and that's also something I want to show here. From these people, not everyone knew how to, deal with electronics or computers, and everyone succeed to put together these artifacts because that's part of our key expertise, supporting non-tech people to, move forward with technology, and those who want to put them in contact with the communities of practice and the professionals to continue evolving their practice. That's another course. We call it living with your own ideas. That's very rooted into if you have an idea, before telling others what to do, you have to carry the idea with you. So this course introduces what we call first person design perspective through the concept of the first person design processes. It invites you to inhabit, to live, to sleep, to carry through the street with your own ideas, as embodied experiments. So you'll learn here how not to be afraid of testing ideas on the outside and living with them and see what happens when you have to carry these ideas that you have on paper with you for one day and a week. The Alloys of Weak Signals, it's a fundamental methodology of the program. We developed that at the beginning, and we continue to evolve with you every year. It's a tool that we use to map emerging futures by identifying, analysis, and co-creating signals that shape ecological, political, and technological crises. So through that, not only you'll use that tool into your projects, but you also learn how to appropriate it. So how to create new cards, how to play the workshop with others. We have a lot of alumni who use that in their professional career just as a tool to trigger ideas, to do foresights even about things that can potentially happen but are hard to see in the present. Last one I have here, prototyping sprints. Prototyping sprints are the intense micro challenges where you have a week to translate your research into a rapid and situated artifact. And that means how you lose the fear to go to the shops to test things using high and low tech, from microcontrollers and software to, much more kind of biomaterial approaches, using basic chemistry and bio, or, using more kind of, traditional making, with wood, in metal, etc. So that's what the prototyping sprints are about, and it's fundamental so you can develop the artifacts you use in your interventions. Here, actually, have a quick summary. This is the list you could find in Hackster, which is a platform for documentation of all the short prototypes that were developed during the last year as part of this course. Well, this is the program, but there's more to show you. We have 3 key moments in the year. The design dialogues that happen at the end of each term, where you present to the outside world your research and you share it, you discuss it. The research trip, where we go to do field research, in a unique location. Last year, Italian Alps, you see in the images, now heading to Senegal in Africa in about a month. And then the MDEF Fest, which actually is a festival you co-organize at the end of the year, first and second year, to show your work with the world, to actually test your work and actually see what happens when you engage, a broad audience with the work that you have developed. We have a long network of experts, and I'll say I'm very proud of that. Local experts, very good network of local experts in very diverse fields, many people that could be here in Barcelona with you, but also, a very long network of experts around the world, especially as we are Fab Lab Barcelona, a Fab Lab connected with more than 3,000 laboratories. Just showing you that, the program is also very much about engaging with people in a multidisciplinary field of work, that can contribute to your projects, especially in the second year. We are arriving to the end, and I just want to guide you a bit, onto the type of, career path and alumni that we have. So I will start by showing you people that they have carried out their studio practice at the master until, creating an organization that actually supports that practice. First of all, what you have here is a Slow Lab. So a Slow Lab, it's a collective that was put together by Paula Bustos, Audrey Belliot, and Gerda Melchkin. It's they started that from part of their NDEF work on exploring low-tech practices, ancestral knowledge, and resilient ways of living. So they develop artifacts that help people partly by making their own energy, people cooking by using only the energy of the sun. And they have turned these into a practice they offer through workshops for institutions, for companies, for schools, and that is well known here in the city. I encourage you to check on Instagram as Slow Lab BCN to see more about the work they are doing at the moment. That's, like I said, a project by Julius Tikity. This is a project that started as a material research, transforming sugarcane into bio-based applications for architecture and interiors. And nowadays, it's a project that has its own commercial path that Julia has been developing for more than 2 years. And you could see, actually, I would say that it's very nice go from something very experimental at the MDev. Now it's something that, has, a very, the look and the appeal of a very well finished architectural product. Heading to Power. Power is a project by Pablo Stuluaga. And so Pablo, developed this practice in the dev. He came from, a background on advertisement. And then suddenly he went into making and he found, what making means and what the Fab Labs meant. And so he started to develop tools to show kids and to educate kids about climate change. So the first tool he built on Power as part of the MDev program, and now it's a company of its own. It's what you see here on your left. That's a device that allows you to test how a plant would live under certain specific conditions. So you could put, for example, in a strawberry plant that makes the strawberries that kids, might be familiar with. And then you could see what happens if it rains less or if the temperature is warmer. And so you could see the effects on agriculture firsthand of climate change, which is something that, it's hard for kids that they keep, listening about climate change to see what are the implications, in this case, on food and food security, but also, in their everyday life. The second product he developed, it's called Pivot. It's a device that allows you to measure the environment, especially for kids. So it's kind of a small computer for kids in the class to learn about things that happen around them, that it's used very much for STEAM purposes. So, I wanted to show you that too, because that's a company, it's running, it got multiple prizes, and that started from a project here at the program. Last but not least, Organic Matters by Laura Freixas. That's a project on biomaterials and circular design. So Laura combined the wall of biomaterials and materials which, come from biological origins with the idea of, organic waste at the neighborhood scale here in Poblano. And, develop her final project was called Organic Matters and was showing actually what type of new uses we could make of these waste streams in Barcelona to create new products. It happens also that we are very proud that Laura is also right now the director of the master in design through new materials at Elizaba, which makes us also, very happy to show you that, how people that went through that program now they are leading, another master program that's actually the sister program at Elizaba, and it actually we even collaborate in some topics on the MDev. Showing you here as a way to wrap up too, people that they maybe didn't pursue their exact practice or by creating, their own company or institution, that they actually, went to, work on a very diverse and I would say relevant set of companies and institutions. From Alexandra Lukaszewska that works at Science Now. It's a very interesting research studio in Poland. They connect science and science outreach with advanced design practices. Very well known for being able to translate complex science issues into the wall. We have Carolina Mendez Amaro de Almeida working currently at the Interspecies Internet. It's a US foundation trying to set the grounding of how we are going to create an internet that allows not only humans to communicate, but also other species. We also have Jean-Luc Pierrit, part of the MIT Department for Urban Sciences and Planning. He did a very intense work on indigenous communities here at the MDev, and now he brought that to his MIT work in urban studies. Or Mitali Parikh, working at the Fab City Foundation, a sister institution of IAAC, developing projects on urban innovation and community-driven action. Showing you some more because I think that could help you to understand where you could be, in 2-3 years. We have Nicolas Violier. Nicolas did his final MDev research on bacterial cellulose. So maybe you heard about kombucha, and how you have, how you can use um, you can grow cellulose. And he also did that work around mycelium and how mycelium could actually absorb actually in specifically the waste coming from cigarettes. And he combined all this research into the work he does nowadays. Coipsa is one of the biggest paper manufacturers in Chile, in Latin America, and and Nicolas leads the innovation department there, trying to push forward new types of dealing with cellulose waste, new types of, in this case, of bringing bacteria and cellulose into the process of making paper. Veronica Pathos, right now lead at the Unifrance. It's actually the rector of the Unifrance University in Bolivia. So, well connected and well established academic institution. Sophie Marandon, working for the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. Very proud to say is not the only one. We also have Carmen Robles from last year MDev also joined the BSc. It's I will say, one of the biggest supercomputing laboratories in Europe. Has one of the top supercomputers in Europe, both doing work there. Sophia actually developed a practice very much connected with the topic of using artificial intelligence for urban planning. So how to simulate urban policy through images. So how you kind of collect an image of a place that you like a lot in the city, and then automatically you could visualize how different urban policies would transform the city, would transform that particular location you like so much in real time. And then finally, we have Bikran Mishra, currently back in India, where he's from, being a design lead at Analogy Design. So, he had a very strong design practice, went through the MDev, and now he's not anymore a designer. He's a design lead of an important studio in India. So, hopefully through that, and we can talk more, you see it more of, all these and kind of large MDev core, because keep in mind, it's around 20 to 25 students per year after these 8 years of the program, where people eat. So let me summarize, just to wrap up, and we'll then go for comments and questions. So if you ask me, Guillem, how do you summarize the MDev, in one slide? Well, that will be the slide. That's a slide that you could take a picture. So 7 steps to design the future, a progression through exploration, making reflection and impact. So first of all, rethink the design role. So MDev is to challenge convention and equips you to tackle the future using advanced technologies and innovative design research methods. Second, learn by doing. A hands-on full-time program in Barcelona. 10 months, or 20 months, that's how the MDev unfolds. 4 phases, 1 goal. You explore, you build, you reflect, you apply, you focus on small interventions with big impact. Tools of change. We work with coding, with AI, with fabrication, with biology, with rapid prototyping, but also with low tech, with, a very diverse set of tools, very much grounded into, Fab Academy and the how to make almost anything program that it's based on the MIT curriculum that, we started to develop with the MIT people more than 10 years ago. So kind of supporting you to be, very good at managing these tools. Hybrid learning path, shape your trajectory by combining design, technology, and critical research practices. Hybrid means that, you bring your knowledge there. That's key. You bring your background. We don't want people that look the same. And the last 2, global community. You collaborate with an international network of makers, researchers, and cultural practitioners, both, international from, or global networks, but also local in Barcelona, which I'll say is very important. And also build what matters, graduate with prototypes that represent you, lead the studio. That's, 2 years to do what you want, not for us to tell you what you have to build. And I'll say that's key. We really want you to bring ideas. We will support you with those ideas. And the ones who don't have, of course, happy to, guide you, but very important that this is not a problem for us to tell you what to do. It's a problem for you to create impact, grounded in a real context. So this is a quick summary of the MDev program. Hope that you like it. We'll show you that in a moment. Maybe actually I would wait to show you that a bit more as part of the Q&A, but you can already, if you want, take a picture of that QR code. That's mdev.fablabcn.org. That's kind of what used to be the internal wiki of the program, but now we open it. And in there, you can start to browse the syllabus of all the courses, as well as the websites of all of the students of the program and other information that, maybe, it's a bit work in progress, but I think it's good that you can look so you can see firsthand what the project looks like. So thank you very much. Time for questions now. Let me look at the chat because I saw a lot of people I got a lot of notifications. So, okay, no, I see okay, perfect. It's also here with me today, Chiara Dall'Olio. Chiara Dall'Olio is a program coordinator. Also very
Hi.
happy that Chiara has been program coordinator since year zero, and that means that knows the program better than anyone. So that means, Chiara, it's a bit like, on these TV shows, the last for 10 years is the showrunner. It's the one that knows everything about the program, even things I don't know. So it's very important to have Chiara with us today. So please, if you have any comments or questions, I will be happy to discuss them. And also on top of that, show you and guide you a bit more on that website I just presented a moment ago.
You can write the question in the chat, or you can raise your hand and directly ask the question. I saw Christina, you were, yeah, please go ahead. We cannot hear you.
Yep, I will unmute you, Christina, in just 1 second. Let me just find you here. You want to raise your hand so I can find you easier? Where are you? I don't see you. Oh, I mean, yeah, ask to unmute. Excellent.
All right. Hi, thank you. Sorry, I couldn't even send a reaction. Thank you, Guillem. That was super helpful. So I have two questions. One is more or less what's the percentage of, practice versus like theory or, critique in the program? And then the second one is there's supposedly a lot of tools that one needs to learn how to use, right? And I see that there's a lot of self-exploration and self-learning, but I wonder whether you also provide some support in learning how to use some of these tools. And I guess there's so many, which I don't know how you deal with that, because it looks like everyone can explore their own project, which is great. But how do you do that?
Oh, thank you, Christina. These are very good questions. So I'll start with the last one. So how we support you on making, how we support you that you get self-sufficient in making. Well, you pointed something which is it's key. But on the good side, I would say, compared to other programs where the toolkit is very narrow, where actually it's very well defined. You learn Rhino, you learn 3D printing. This program is very broad, and we do so by, of course, supporting you to take the path that you want. But you need some support for that. Well, we have, a well-structured strategy for that because it's very much on the foundations of FabLab Barcelona to put you, in very precise topics. In the first term, we have the fundamentals of digital fabrication, which is one specific practical seminar runs weekly or bi-weekly, and it supports you to actually, get the foundations of the lab. Then you have on the exploration track, you have these more kind of, we can say, advanced topics where we approach them in a practical way. So extended intelligence, which I mentioned, for example, which is more on the topic of artificial and diverse intelligence, or the topic of, the topic of bio-based solutions, it's approached also in a very practical way. So we have these workshops. We have actually 3 workshops on extended intelligence, and we have also 3 more workshops, on the topic of other species. Those are practical. So you also learn the fundamentals of, for example, using a biolab. On top of that, and I'll say that's a key part, as you may remember, I introduced this concept of the have it here, of the prototyping sprints. And the prototyping sprints, which we have at least 3, 4 around the year, are intense workshops on rapid prototyping. Each of these workshops, where you have to work in group under one idea, we prioritize one area. So one maybe it's more oriented towards, bio, one it's more towards, software, one it's more towards electronics. And you have a specific experts that guide you to make the project a reality. So I'll say all of these things combined together makes it very strong. Then further on in the second year, we also offer you elective seminars, both from other IAAC programs, where you could, for example, take, a workshop on robotics, learn how to program for a robot, or also you could join different modules of the FAP Academy program that we offer. And FAP Academy is this MIT-based curriculum where, you go into the ABC of digital fabrication, from the design part to the fabrication, from electronics to, big stuff. And you could pick some of these modules as a way to support especially the development of your final project, to say. So if you are working in a project, for example, that's happening right now, some people, they need for their projects, a printed circuit board, electronics, let's say. They kind of custom Arduino boards. So they are now taking, 2 modules of FAP Academy called, electronics design, and one called electronics programming, to actually succeed to make these boards for their second year final product. You had another question that maybe I missed to answer. So which was the first question you asked?
Sorry, yeah, it was around the percentage of, or the balance between practice and theory.
Well, I would say the program it's very practical, because a lot of the content is offered through workshops. It's true that we have some classes, that feel a bit more like a seminar, when we have, for example, a digital narrative, but still they are very much based on practical activities. So yes, we do critical reflection, but everything is done, in a very practical setting, where, for example, in the case of the reflection, we invite a lot of guests, and the guests come, you can talk to them live. So don't expect the type of classes where someone sits, and talks to you for 2 hours on a PowerPoint. Don't expect that at all. No, actually, I recommend you, and maybe now it's time to show you that quickly while we also listen for other questions. Let me just share the screen in case that, more of those questions arise. Give me a second, I just want to go perfect. If you go to the site I shared before and you go here to year 1, you could see here the syllabus for all the different parts of the program, different seminars and workshops that we are doing at the moment. We are at the second term, so you can simply visit here. For example, like Extended Intelligences 2, you could see, here everything that happened. This actually, happened 2 weeks ago. The methodologies, the deliverables, the grading, the faculty, and not only that, but you can just scroll and say, because as I said, the third term is still on the making, but you can go here and go to previous years, and then you can, for example, say, okay, what was this topic of, third term, 22, 23, you could look, you could even ask for questions like, oh, look, I thought you did critical transfeminist design here. Is it going to happen this year? So, happy, to guide you through that. Later on, I'll talk more about the students' websites, but I'll let that and first for later. Let's just ask your questions first.
I see that Cindy raised.
Yes. Hi, I'm Cindy.
Hi.
I'm from Ecuador, but I did my bachelor's in the United States, and I wanted to know and see I have a background. My degree was in manufacturing engineering, and I'm pretty new at knowing how Elisava works. And I was recommended by my brother because he wanted to do this school. And he told me very good things about it. So that's why I'm here trying to find out which program would be best for me. And this one was the one that caught my attention the most. But I wanted to see how much knowledge or like what type of background you guys need for people to be in the program, like because I'm afraid that like I may know things, I may not know things that are needed to be able to join the program. So that's kind of what where I'm at. Like I'm not sure, like I'm sure the requirements like maybe say a little bit about it, but I didn't understand quite well like if you need like a certain type of background or like if all backgrounds are welcome. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, thank you for the question. I'll answer in one short sentence. All backgrounds are welcome, and that's key to that program. It's maybe one of the reasons this program, it's different than other programs we offer at the IAAC. There's other programs at the IAAC which are more driven towards architects, designers with a very specific background on software, 3D modeling, on maybe some fabrication skills. Here it's very broad program. We benefit at the end by creating a very diverse cohort of people, that combines very different backgrounds, and then we support you to grow on top of that. And the approach we have to technology in the program, it's there, to support you to grow from it. So don't expect that we'll take for granted that you all know how to program, that you all know how to use a 3D printer, that you all know how to model. Even when it comes into creating these prototyping sprints that we do, these shared prototyping activities, we make sure to create groups of people, with diverse backgrounds, so one support the others, and I'll say that's fundamental. My experience at the end is that actually people that sometimes came with a very kind of well-established technological background, then they decided to switch to projects which are very less technological to kind of unfold that other part of their hybrid profile, and the opposite. People with no technological background, they have to succeed to push themselves forward in technology as a way to complete their hybrid profile as designers, as creative.
Actually, can I add, we always have students every year. Of course, we have designers, but from sociology, for example, this year we have a student from biology. And what students highlight every year is that there's a lot of peer learning. And this is thanks to this diverse group. So we actually, we are interested in creating this diverse group.
I see we have some questions on the chat, but I don't know who's moderating. So please tell me which ones to answer.
Could I read them to you, Guillem? Would that be all right?
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah. So Rai, they are writing us. They have a background in anthropology and archaeology and community organization. Does this program provide collaborative opportunities for students without a technical background who are interested particularly in the relationship between design and urban ecologies? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, from the point of view of collaborative opportunities, let's say inside the program, of course, let's say this is a program that, as I said, works around the idea of communities of practice. So we want that we support you to ground your work within existing communities in the cities that you collaborate, and is in that context when you kind of start to develop, your practice, as you said, for example, in the relation between design and urban ecologies. On top of that, talking about urban ecologies, we have the campus in Laura Labs that actually we also every year do some activities, and I think it's a very relevant place for people that has interest in urban ecologies and ecologies in general, because you could go there in a pretty urban area, and kind of understand systems in a way that sometimes in the city, it's harder to imagine. It's also relevant for me to tell you that when you are in the second year of the program, we assign you a mentor, and through that mentor, which is a professional from the broad Barcelona community, you also go in to collaborate with local, not only communities, but also local professionals in a more one-to-one relation, which I would say also helps a bit on that direction that you mentioned. I don't know if I answer everything because it's a long question, but maybe, as we keep moving forward, we'll answer it. And please, if you have more questions, let's go. If you want, Andres, I can read it out loud, so you don't need to do it. I see here there's a second question. It's in prototyping. Is it a method for use in teaching or a self-discovery? It's a method used in teaching fully. Let's say we prototyping. It's how we develop this approach for going from very large issues into a practical interventions. You develop artifacts, which are prototypes, that you test on the ground under different settings. These artifacts are diverse, could look like what we all understand as a prototype, which maybe it's a part of a solution in a very tangible way, could be more abstract, but it's very grounded into the practice, not only for tech team, but also of the studio here in the program. I hope this solve. If I am answering something, please, and you see I'm not being detailed enough, please let me know, type on the chat or just jump in. I'm going now to Ariana Zucaro. Which academic backgrounds are most common among admitted students? What are the minimum entry skill requirements, and which skills are taught from scratch during the program? Well, I'll say we discussed it a bit, but maybe overall, I would say that if you look at the most common, I'll say it's hard to say because it's very diverse always, but at least I'll say architects and designers might be the most common background admitted. But as Chiara said, then if you look around, there's a big diversity of sociologies, anthropologies, biologies, etc., etc. Just to put you examples, I had people like Sophie Marandon working at the Barcelona Supercomputing Center I mentioned, background in political sciences. Albert Villa, director of a natural park here in the area, took the program, a year ago, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of people with no specific, background on design architecture, they've been part of that program. And I'll say they had a good experience because it's people that, we continue to have a relation and they love what they took from the program. And some of them, what I like is that it's not that they switch and they become designers. They came back to the practice, but in a very different way. Saying to hear about admission, about the technical, part, and the technical skills that I see this keeps being a question. Telling you, IAAC offers, and that's important for you all to know. We offer the pre-course. We could tell you more in detail, but in a very kind of summarized fashion. That's 2 weeks foundational course at the beginning of the IAAC Masters that you can. Actually, when we interview you, we recommend you which ones to take. And that provides a bit the foundation. So the day you are in class and someone says, today we're going to work with Arduino. I'm not saying that we expect you to know about Arduino, but let's say you know the basics of electronics. If you're going to say we're going to 3D print, it's not for you like it's the first time I do 3D print. In the pre-course, you might do a bit of 3D printing, right? So we offer that pre-course. But again, I just want to underline that with these other courses, expect you, to have a particular tech background because it's very diverse. So I'm not here to tell you, you all need to learn Rhino, or you all need to learn Arduino, or you all need to learn how to 3D print, because that's not what the program is about. Since I'll go for the last one, Valentina, and then I see also Jose, you have your hands, and Cindy. So I'll do this one and then I'll jump on you here live. Since the mastery is full time, what is the class schedule? Is there any time for work during the master? Well, I'll split that into two. Actually, you have two questions here. Let me first show you one which I like to show. That's also is a way to make it more dynamic. Let me quickly go here and share my screen again. If you go here into year one, also year two, I'll do for the two of them, and you go to calendar, you'll see we have a calendar here publicly. And of course, I'm not saying next year will be the same. There's a bit of a change in the amount of credits from year one, year two. I could talk more in a moment. And of course, every year the program changes and evolves, under the guidelines I show you. But this is what's happening this week. So if you go here, you could go, and you could see what's happening every week, every day. That could give you a bit of a sense of the intensity of the program, but as well of the type of schedule that we follow. Our recommendation is always that is a full-time program. We do know some people that has worked in the program, but we cannot tell you that you will be able to carry a heavy workload aside from the program during that period. Because again, as we said, there's a lot to learn on the program, and we cannot tell you that in advance. I don't know, Chiara, as this is a question that you answered many times. If you want to ask, if you want to bring something here.
No, I always say that, as you said, it's a full-time program, but if so we always have every year a student working, but the job should be like with flexible schedule and not full-time, of course. But also, this is like something I've observed, as in my experience, student with like working, they are kind of faster or so it's easier for a student with some experience, work experience, to combine the two things because it's switching from maybe 1 hour of coding for like the company for work, and then maybe 2 hours of class. The schedule is not regular, the schedule of the master, so the work should be like with a flexible schedule. But it's possible, not easy, but yeah. Jose, no?
Say?
Yes, I have two questions. The first one is about the machines and technologies aside from 3D printing that you have in your Fab Lab. And I would also like to know if you could complete the first year of the program and then decide whether to continue with the second year.
Thank you, Jose. Yeah, for sure. Let me summarize a bit what we have available as tools here. So IAAC has one of the oldest Fab Labs in Europe. We started in 2007. It's a laboratory that I would say one of the best things is that it has a very big diversity of tools, and it's shared across less than 300 students. It's not like other universities with a similar size workshop around 2,000 students or maybe 20,000 students. So what do we have here now? We have a lab for laser cutting and 3D printing. We have a lab for manual woodworking. We have a lab for CNC with 3 large CNCs for wood, plastic. We do have a welding lab. Usually not open to students, but if someone knows how to weld, we can use it, or if someone needs, we could support on that. So for metal too, we also have a biolab, which we call it a beta biolab because it's not a full equipped high-end, laboratory for bio, but it's a space for you to experiment, with biology. We have there, tools for mixing, for cleaning, for safety. We have fridges for keeping things cold. We have incubators to keep things at different temperatures. We have lenses and microscope. We have, like kind of the basics, of doing this type of work. Of course, we have also a lot of different chemicals that you use on that process. We have what we call the protolab too, which we have more advanced electronics. You can go there to do PCBs, We also have a bit of tools for kind of diverse prototyping, such as, sewing machines, like vinyl cutters, machines, for make diverse prototypes. And then, kind of like the central part of our shops at IAAC. Then at Elizaba, we have also different Elizaba shops. This includes a shop for graphic design, which is more oriented towards kind of print production. You have a Riza machine, you have a big plotter printing, and then at Elizaba, there's also similar workshops like the ones we have here, again with laser cutters, etc. And sure, more workshops I don't know because we might need to ask Saul because they keep changing every year. But for example, I don't know they have a material workshop, so you can go and test material, which is something we don't have here. In here, maybe also adding, just to summarize a bit, because of course the topic I do like, we also have, for example, machines for dealing with, kind of the wet lab. We have machines for mixing pastes, concretes, clays. We also have actually an open space to do so. We also have machines for recycling thermoplastics, precious plastic projects. So we have this type of machines in the lab. And then on top of that, we have also two places that we cannot offer as day-to-day access, but could potentially become part of your research. We have in Baldara Labs in the countryside. We have actually what's the biggest forest in the biggest private forest of Barcelona, which is owned by us. It's very large. You have a forest to experiment. We also do forest management there, and we have a shop especially for dealing with wood process there, used mostly by the students in the master in advanced ecological buildings, but also a place that you can go and learn from that practice. And of course, we also founders of the network of Barcelona maker spaces. That means also that for specific work, we love to put you in contact with other shops in the city. There is a TMDC, is a very large shop. We also have the network of public Fab Labs. Each of them, of course, have different policies for access, so we cannot grant you access in those. But I'm just trying to tell you, especially for second-year students, that you have a very kind of diverse set of resources in Barcelona to access and to make them part of your work. Second question you had was on the, sorry, I missed to take note. Could you repeat, Jose? You need to unmute.
There. Yes, the second was about if you could complete the first year of the
Sure.
program and then
Yeah. Sorry for this. Forgot about. Yeah, I mean, how does it work? We encourage everyone who wants to take, second year to apply for a second year. But of course, there's the option for those who only take the first year to then do the second year, but you have to decide, around the end of the first term of the first year if you want to then do the second. But yeah, that's an option, and we do have people who does so. But it's important that you have to decide quite in advance because we have to enroll you one program or the other, and that also affects the academic credentials and everything that you'll get after.
There's another question in the chat. If it's possible to participate in some courses from other masters, like the Master in Design through New Materials. This is
yeah, let me explain a bit how we work on that. So to be very transparent, these things could evolve. And if they will evolve for good because we are making the programs more and more hybrid. So take what I'm telling you and think that it could improve, but not go worse. Elizabeth-wise, we do collaborate with the programs, but not in an open fashion. It's not like you pick elective courses. We do design it on purpose. For example, we have the program on artificial intelligence for design at Elizabeth. We share part of the artificial intelligence work that we do. We share sometimes, if it's possible, we share the class directly, the two groups together. If the group is too big, we share faculty and then do presentations together. We also engage with Elizabeth the Beyond sessions, which is that almost every week you have an expert coming to give a lecture, and all the Elizabeth Beyond programs, which are the programs you mentioned, design for new materials, beyond products, etc. They are part of that. So it's also a way to meet the people and to listen from a very diverse set of professionals that are not only under the MDev umbrella. You go also then at Elizabeth, the working progress, which is actually, it's these midterms we do together with all the Elizabeth master programs, as well as at the end, the festival, which is also always open to the Elizabeth community. Then specifically for IAAC, what do we do? At IAAC, especially in the second year, we offer you the possibility to take from all the IAAC second years different programs. And that's something actually the moment we are building and improving. What's the purpose of that? The purpose is that if you are at the MDev, but your project, involved on the automation of work, and you want to actually test firsthand the automation of work, which might mean working with industrial robotics, you could take a workshop on industrial robotics from one of our, programs that are on digital fabrication for architecture. And through that, you learn yourself how to, manage this type of robot. Just to put you another example, a moment ago, last week, we finalized a big public installation for the Llum Barcelona Festival. And that was a seminar organized by us at the MDev, but that hosted also students from other IAAC programs. And that's always a very good time, to share and also to get the expertise of the different backgrounds that we have here in-house. So answering much better, sorry, your question, design through new materials. we design through new materials at the moment. This year, we don't have any specific collaboration. From the point of view of, one seminar together. We have all these other things, the beyond, we have the beyond sessions, which are the conferences. We do have the working progress. But actually, and I'm not saying for saying, we are discussing with Nuria, director, trying to maybe also do something together when it comes to the other species path of work that I described.
Actually, if I can add, this
please.
year for the first time, we did a joint course with the master and Lisava Beyond Master, the master in design for AI and creativity, something like this. So we did in the first term what we call the Extended Intelligence 1 course together with them. Actually, the course was organized by them. And it's possible also that we organize a joint course, or we join a course of the Master in Design through New Material. We don't know yet, but this thing start happening, no? Between the Beyond Master at Elisava.
So in summary, I will say we are designing more and more shared programs, and on top of that, you have the opportunities, yes or yes, to engage with all the IAAC community, because both institutions are enough small for you to meet IAAC people, we share the same building, and in Elisava, we even have specific activities like the Beyond sessions where you meet that people. Let's just try to wrap up these, as Andres is saying. In case someone wants to apply, there are some scholarships. Yeah, there are some scholarships. Maybe Chiara, Andres, if you would like to mention them.
Sure. So the general invitation is that at IAAC, we invite you to compete for a scholarship. We invite you to compete for funding. And currently, actually, we have not one, but two competitions. One of them, an external one called the Advanced Architectural Contest, of which I can share a little link on that chat box. But if you've been doing your homework and exploring our webpage and you follow us on social media, you know about it. And also, we do have our own scholarship contest that is now open. The main requirement to be eligible for any of those two contests or any other type of scholarship funding is to have submitted your application. So the first step that we usually advise applicants to do first is to first submit their master's application, and then parallel to that we can think about competing for scholarships. So yes, we do have scholarship competitions.
Also, I can add here that normally in March, through March, the Elisava Master Scholarship is open through the month of March. Still, the requirement and the exact date are not defined, are not public, but if you, follow us, and we will inform you about this scholarship competition. This is for MDEF and other Elisava Master.
Wonderful.
There's a last question. Could you please clarify whether students are expected to bear costs of individual projects, or if any material fabrication reserves or budgets are provided by the program? Chiara, would you like to address that, or you want me to do it?
So the master provides the materials, but of course you have access to the fabrication laboratory through a booking system, but you have free access and support from our staff. We provide you the materials for the prototypes that are required for a specific course. If you do the fundamentals of digital fabrication, you learn how to CNC. You have to CNC a piece of wood. We provide you the wood. Or if you do a course on biomaterials, we provide you like all the chemicals and all the materials. But for your own personal project, you have to provide the material, because this is very different from student to student. So is only for the personal project is the student who provide the material. For the other courses, we provide you.
As a way to wrap up, and we are very much out of time, I would just like to show you something very quickly, which is that don't forget to do something which I'll say it's the best way to know if that's a program that's relevant to you, which is to carefully explore the student websites. So every year, all the MDev students, they are required to put together a website that documents their work. So if you go to the site I share with you, you'll see the students of this year, which of course the slides are not very well finished, they're on the making, but you can also scroll down, there's a button called See websites from previous years, and I very much encourage you from the first year to the last one to browse that and to go through and navigate, what people it's been doing. This is not the final project. This is week by week, experiment by experiment, everything that happens in that program. I think this will give you a very good understanding of this is not a program about a single final project. It's a program of many projects. And I'll say that, there's tons of relevant documentation there that give you a first-hand, understanding of the experience that is being part of that program. So hope that helps. And of course, if you have any comment or questions, happy to answer them later over email or in an interview.
And there was one question at the very beginning that we will share the recording of this session with you, right, Andres?
Yes, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So make sure you go there and subscribe and activate that little bell so you can get all our recordings. If we don't have any more questions, I'll leave it after this, Guillem, to you so you can wrap it up. But from the admission side of things, we are here to support you in this process. So feel free to write us a message, book a one-on-one session with us. Let us help you get to Barcelona, World Capital of Architecture 2026. Thank you very much for joining us today. And Guillem, I'll leave you to show us the way out. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the organization. We are at your disposal for any comments, questions, as I said. And we're also very happy to, invite you to visit modismdev.fablabcn.org website. It's a very intimate space for us, but we think we deserve for you to look at it because that could be the best way for you to understand what the program is about and how this could fit your interests and work. So thank you. Have a good day and a good afternoon and a good morning.
Thank you. Bye-bye.